Our last final topic of the day, speaking of other movies and stuff, is Kevin Feige and Patty Jenkins' Star Wars movies have been scrapped. So this comes to us from Variety. We have here, one moment. There's been a disturbance in the Force, and that spells bad news for fans awaiting the films expected from Patty Jenkins and Kevin Feige. The rocky reboot of the Star Wars franchise since 2015 has been marred by creative issues, director firings, and generally bad decision-making. The bad luck has continued with the news from Variety that Jenkins' Rogue Squadron, as well as Marvel Studios president Feige's untitled project, have both been shelved indefinitely. While the Star Wars franchise continues to do moderately well through Disney+, The Mandalorian accepted, the show from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni is a critical darling and beloved by fans. The feature films under the Disney Lucasfilm banner have seen a lot of diminishing returns. The current slate of Marvel films has not been quite as well critically received, which could perhaps be a contributing factor to Feige's parting ways with Lucasfilm. Unlike Jenkins, he will have plenty to keep him occupied with another 19 Marvel projects currently announced and in various states of development. Raul, what are your thoughts on all this first? I'm curious about how you feel about all this.
I mean, I especially with the Patty Jenkins thing, like the writing was on the wall with that. I mean, it was just they were going to cancel. They had said for a while they were like, "Oh, we're shelving it and we're just kind of pushing it back indefinitely." And at that point, I was like, "This movie's not happening." And then they cancel what? They canceled the Taika Waititi one, right?
No, it's still kind of in development.
Is it?
I think it's in the same place as like the Rian Johnson movie stuff. Like it's up in the air. They're saying, "Oh no, we'll work on that at some point," but I don't think it'll ever happen. But they've never said it's not happening. You know,
we'll see.
It's in
I don't
there.
know. Like we were saying, Star Wars Celebration is happening right now. In fact, today is the first day of celebration. It's April 7th right now as we're recording this. So we'll definitely get into some deep dives when we do our Celebration episode and see what comes out of Star Wars Celebration as far as further announcements about maybe Taika Waititi or anything like this. But yeah, and then the Kevin Feige thing, like I did not see this happening at all. I mean, with everything going on over at Marvel right now and him already being spread too thin, and now, you know, with everything coming out with Phase 4 and beyond, with all the issues and having to cancel projects and shuffle dates around as a result of, you know, just the quality control issue going on with the Marvel films lately, Kevin Feige has to kind of refocus and put more of his time and energy into the Marvel films. Like he's got to come back and deal with this right now. So there's no way he can peel himself away and do a Star Wars film.
It's a really good call to do that, though, too. I think it's better to play it safe with that because it's true what this article is saying. Like, Marvel has not been doing very well lately. Like, I've said a bunch of times already that I feel like the magic of Marvel is kind of starting to disappear, and it scares me because I'm more excited now about possible DC movies than I am about Marvel currently. Right. And that's not a good sign. Like, I think ever since Bob Chapek left, I think people have been able to breathe again. And Bob Iger must have looked at Kevin Feige and was like, "Bro, you are stressed. Let's help you out a little bit. Let's scrap a few Star Wars projects off your hand because clearly it's not time for that right now. Maybe in the future. I think this could be a possible thing. What if Kevin Feige finishes the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the next 5 to 10 years, 5 to 8 years possibly, and then they move him on to Star Wars and he becomes Kathleen Kennedy, but for Star Wars?
I don't know about him becoming the new Kathleen Kennedy, but I will say this is just my guess. I'm basing this on nothing except for pure speculation. I think after Secret Wars, Kevin Feige's done. I think he's done.
It's weird. Like, I feel the same way about that.
I think this is he's going to finish out Secret Wars, get all the way up to the culmination of these new 3 phases. And I think he's done. And if, you know, they want to continue the Marvel films after that, sure. But I think Kevin Feige I think he's working his way to Secret Wars being his legacy and what he leaves Marvel with.
And also, I think there's other producers at Marvel that work alongside Kevin Feige. Like I know he's like the face of Marvel right now, but there are other producers sitting next to him that are just as passionate about Marvel. They're just not as well marketed, you know? So if Kevin Feige were to leave and do something different, he would have people who are in the same mindset and headspace as Kevin Feige, which that's why I'm a little more reassured about it, you know? I'd love to see Marvel do well afterwards. I don't want them to fail, but you know, if Kevin Feige were to move on and do something else, good for him. I'm sure he deserves to retire if he wants to retire as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think also just the fact that even Patty Jenkins' gig is gone as well. I've seen a couple articles saying like, well, you know, the Rogue Squadron thing, like it's not like officially off the table, but we're just shelving it for now. Like it's not gone. It's still a possibility. But to be honest, if you want to see some space battles, watch Mandalorian season 3 because there's a lot more space battles in season 3, and it's pretty dang cool.
Yeah. It's just been a lot of with Lucasfilm and Star Wars. It's just been a lot of announcing stuff, and then we hear nothing about it, and then you know things change, and then oh well, this isn't happening anymore, or this director left, or we're having an issue with this script, or it's just been so much of that kind of stuff. And again, I'm very curious to see what comes out of Star Wars Celebration. What do they have?
Yeah.
You know,
and what are they not canceling?
These projects? What are they not canceling? What are they moving forward with? Again, we're gonna talk about it next week, but this has just been an issue with Star Wars lately. Is just not having any kind of momentum going with films. Like when was the last, not the Last Jedi? When was the Rise of Skywalker? 2019. Yeah. 2019. We're in 2023 now, and there still hasn't been another film. You know, and we've heard nothing ever since 2019. We've heard nothing but announcements about we're coming with, you know, in addition to like we're doing Mandalorian, we're doing shows. We've heard a bunch of announcements about we got a movie coming out. We're working on this. We got Benioff and Weiss. We got Ryan Johnson doing a trilogy. We got Taika Waititi. Here's Kevin Feige. Here's Patty Jenkins. Crickets. Like we don't know anything. It's 2023 and we haven't heard any forward motion, any forward movement on any of these projects.
I feel pretty confident about the new announcements, though, which, again, we will discuss in our next episode.
We'll see,
but
yes.
They have been announcing new movies, finally, and so I'm hoping this will be for real this time, especially now because they have Bob Iger on top. He's back, baby! Bob Iger is back! So I think with him back, it's probably more likely that he'll ensure that these people stay and nobody's going to get fired this time around. I think Kathleen Kennedy has probably just made bad choices firing so many people. I think the fact that she's known to be the person who fires all these directors is kind of crazy. You should already know what directors you want from the beginning. When you sign these people, you guys need to be on the same headspace already on what you're doing with these projects. So the fact that she has a bad rep for this is not good. But Kathleen Kennedy is one of the greatest producers who's ever lived. Quote by Steven Spielberg himself, you know? So there's got to be something that we got to start nailing in the head now because this is getting a little out of hand. I'm still very excited about Star Wars, so I'm hoping this is going to be it. This is going to be the good stuff. But if it means Kevin Feige needs to go, if it means Patty Jenkins needs to go, that's totally fine. I'm totally okay with that.
We shall see.
We shall see.
I have nothing more to say because again, we've got Celebration we're going to talk about. And so I'm just kind of holding my breath to see what happens after this weekend.